Hello and welcome to the interview with Nuvation Energy and the Consortium for Battery Innovation, CBI. This interview will focus on future opportunities for lead battery technology in energy storage applications and how the performance can be improved and optimized using battery management systems, or BMS. My name is Alistair Davidson and I'm Director of CBI, and I'm joined by my colleague Matthew Raiford, who is Technical Manager at CBI, and Michael Worry, who is CEO of Nuvation Energy. I would firstly like to thank both of you for joining the interview. To start off, Michael, it's a common belief that lead batteries don't need a BMS because of their reputation for safety. Yet Nuvation Energy has provided battery management systems for a number of lead-based energy storage applications. Why are your clients choosing to add a BMS to their system?
Yeah, good question, Alistair. And we do have a lot of our customers that have added BMS to lead systems in the field. Really, safety standards continue to increase in the industry. And so now energy storage systems almost all require UL 1973 and UL 9540. And to pass that level of safety standard requires a BMS. Without a BMS, you can have hazardous conditions arise where there's outgassing that occurs that is hazardous to humans. It also adds a lot more intelligence to the energy storage system. And so we get, per cell voltage data, per cell impedance data. We get much more accurate state of charge information. This enables a wider range of energy storage applications, such as PV smoothing, demand charge management, more complicated microgrids. In addition to this, it gives much better tracking of data on what's going on inside the battery. And so this enables better battery warranty tracking. So these are some of the reasons we see as to why our customers add BMS to lead energy storage systems.
Matt, we're seeing an increasing deployment of lead batteries for energy storage. Where do you see the opportunities for lead batteries in the future?
That's a good question. I think many of the opportunities for lead batteries in the future will deal with medium-sized energy storage systems for peak demand reduction. And this would be on the commercial and really the residential side too. That size system, about 1 megawatt hour to 5 megawatt hour, both the performance is very high as well as the acquisition cost is very low. And it's a very approachable segment commercially, but also on the residential side where areas like California, where peak times can really have a severe impact on your utility bill. I expect a lot of systems going into residential areas, and I think lead batteries can offer a very key solution. So those are two of several places that I believe lead batteries could make a really strong difference.
We often hear people talking about both lead and lithium-based batteries for these sort of applications. Michael, can I ask you, what factors should someone consider when choosing between a lithium-based energy storage system and a lead-based one?
Sure. So lithium battery systems provide better energy density on both volume and on weight. And so this is why we see the EV industry primarily use lithium batteries. Lead-based batteries offer other advantages, and they have places that exist in the marketplace, and Matt gave some good examples. So they are often lower cost, and so that is an advantage. They're often more rugged. They also have a lower risk of thermal runaway, and so they're generally more accepted by HJs and fire departments. So, for example, we did a number of energy storage systems in New York inside of buildings, and it was easier to put in a lead energy storage system than lithium because the fire department was more familiar with how to work with lead batteries.
Cost is also a key area, and price per kilowatt hour has been one of the main deciding factors in energy storage systems for some years now. I was wondering, Michael, what other requirements are developers telling you that they are looking for at the moment?
Yeah, good question. And we're seeing that certainly on the first level, people pay a lot of attention to dollars per kilowatt hour. However, the energy storage industry is really growing up and paying attention to a wider spectrum of requirements. So people are realizing that it's actually what you can do with the battery that is most valuable. And so people are wanting ever increasing amount of data and metrics, information and visibility into what's going on inside the battery. Those are the kinds of things that our BMS can offer. It's also a function of how long the battery lasts and how carefully you manage it. And so, if you get a low-cost battery and a low-cost BMS, it may look cheap on dollars per kilowatt hour on day one. But if you're trying to get that battery to last 10, 15, 20 years, then you're really not saving money. And so these are some of the other metrics that we see people paying attention to.
Matt, I know that CBI has been working very closely with its membership in promoting lead batteries for energy storage, and that we're about to launch a new tool called CBI Battery Match. I was wondering if you could tell us a bit more about this new online tool.
Yes, so CBI Battery Match will serve as a forum for prospective customers looking for lead batteries for energy storage systems, and having them meet up with actual providers of these batteries and also integrators that help put these systems together. So that will be the primary focus, but also the Battery Match tool will provide some data on sizing, the number of monoblocks involved, some information about general information about construction, housing, elements like this, so that the prospective customer or interested party could have some kind of relative starting point for what the investment would be. Also, it'll cover many of the advantages of the technology on our website, but primarily it'll almost work as a matchmaking service, a technical matchmaking service between people and entities that want to implement battery energy storage systems and the lead battery industry.
Thanks. And I should say that tool will be available on our website, batteryinnovation.org. But finally, Michael, I'd like to ask you if you could tell us about your favorite lead battery energy storage system story.
Favorite one? Well, there's a lot of good ones out there. I suppose one of the ones that we're particularly proud of is we did an eco resort on an island off of the coast of Panama. And this was a system that already had 18 lead energy storage stacks installed, and there was a desire to augment it and add additional energy storage. And the batteries that were there were getting kind of aged or getting to a lower state of health. And the challenge was the battery that was there was no longer available, and they wanted to add a different brand, a different manufacturer of battery. And there was a concern as to how you make that all work. And so we put a Nuvation BMS on each of those 27 battery stacks, both the 9 new ones as well as the 18 existing ones. So we upgraded the functionality of the battery stacks that are already in the field. We then added a custom energy controller on top of that gave priority cycling to the new batteries because they had a much higher state of health, and so they were better able to cycle. And then when the new batteries were depleted, it would then switch over to use the older batteries. And then if the older batteries were depleted, then it would power up the island diesel generator. And so that was a really cool application because here we already had a lead energy storage system in the field, and augmentation is sometimes viewed as a really difficult thing. But using Nuvation's BMS, we're able to enable this rather unique energy storage application.
Thanks. That is a very interesting story. We are seeing lead batteries used more widely and in a real range of applications. We've just actually seen lead battery used at base camp at Everest, so they are being used in more and more unusual places.
Cool.
But I'd like to take the time to say thank you for both of you for joining this interview. As I said before, I think it's a very exciting time for battery technology in general in energy storage, but we believe that lead batteries will play a very important role in the future. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.